Yo, as always, like, share, subscribe. Now let's just get into it. So Michigan had their spring game yesterday, and let's just talk about it. I mean, I'm not sure what the score was. It was like 21-13 or something. It really don't matter. But I'm just gonna run over some things that I jotted down while watching, and get into it. So I'll go over the offense first from the offenses. Number one thing I saw, and JJ didn't play, so Cade got the first two series with both teams, and he wasn't sharp. I mean, what was he, like 3 of 7 for like 20 or 30 yards or something like that? He wasn't sharp at all, and it kind of, to me, it's kind of the same thing, because a lot of the times last year, that's how he started in some of those games, to where he wasn't throwing it. He didn't look sharp, didn't look crisp, and in some of those games, like the Washington game, the Rutgers game, some of those games we just decided to run it. We just ran it almost every time because he couldn't throw it. He couldn't get it in rhythm. So this spring game, he came out. He only had four or five series, but he didn't look good in really any of them. So you would have liked to. We're gonna take it with a grain of salt because it's just the spring game. But me being a fan and watching every year, every game, that's a trend with him. So sometimes he doesn't come out crisp. So you would like to have seen him come out, hit some throws, hit some rhythm, some timing throws, but it just wasn't there for whatever reason. So, JJ's not playing, so it's on him. So, and he knows he wasn't looking sharp. I think after the game, or when they had an interview, he said the spring game isn't gonna tell us how good this team is or how we look, and everything like that. Because he knows he didn't look good. I mean, just being honest. But, Cade is Cade for the most part. We know what to expect from him. But you would have liked to seen him come out crisp. Let's see. What's Blake Corum? Blake Corum, it looks like he's back. He's healthy. And he said he didn't feel healthy again last year until the season was over. Like months after the season was over, he didn't feel like himself until then. But he looks like the real deal. And honestly, I expect Blake Corum to have about 1,500 yards this year. If he stays healthy, I think he's going to go for about 1,500. Honestly, just the way he explodes. In the way, if teams don't have enough talent, like our first three games are Hawaii, Connecticut, and Colorado State or somebody like that. I wouldn't be surprised if he has 600 yards going into our fourth game or something, because he just dominates teams with lesser talent and lesser speed. He kills them. So I wouldn't be surprised if he has. I'm expecting him to have 1,500 yards this year. If he's healthy, honestly. But he looked good. Let's see. The walk-on. The walk-on. QB number 16, Davis Warren. He looked good. Honestly, he looked better than Cade. I'm just going to be 100 on this. He looked better than Cade. The way he throws the ball, anticipation, the way the ball flies off of his arm, he looked good. And the thing to touch on the Cade and his throwing, and he said he was trying to get work with his mechanics. When there's a deep pass, Cade, I don't know what it is about him. He doesn't understand that, if the pass rush is coming, but you see that your receiver has a step, you don't want to just rifle it to him. You want to put air under the ball and rifle it. You want a deep upward pass so your receiver can run up under it. You don't want to throw it just a you don't want to just gun it. You don't want to just gun it and throw a bullet pass. That doesn't give him a chance to run up under the ball. So that's just something that Cade has to work on, because he does it all the time over the last few years. Well, from last year in this spring game, he doesn't put that air under the ball so the receiver can run up under it. Like, he just rifles it. But that's just something he's got to learn that. Like, yeah, the rush is coming. Throw it up. Throw it up. You one-on-one coverage, throw it up. Give him a chance to run up under it. But, yeah, Davis Warren looked good. He looked like he was the starter. Honestly, this is just me from watching. If I never watched Michigan and I saw who's out there, he looked like he was probably the starter or our best option. And this ain't no slack on Cade because we know what he can do, but that's just what I saw. But he looked good. Let's see. Number 20, Khalil Mullins. Khalil Mullins, he might need to be that third back. Now, between him and Leon Franklin and the other young dude that slips my mind, number 20, I believe, they're all fighting for that third running back position, that bell cow position, Dunlap. Now, Dunlap he had almost 20 carries and like 80 yards. He was kind of toting it, but for me, just when I watch any game, whether it don't matter who it is, I look to see who pops off the screen. Like who makes a play and looks like they're a better athlete. They can move better. They've got better explode. I look for that. So Khalil Mullins, he had like a 20-yard run, and I was like, who is that? Who is that? With the way he made his cuts, the acceleration, and he's about 230, 240. This dude plays both ways. He plays a linebacker and running back. I guess they're just waiting to see which one he excels at the most. But I like what I saw out of him. Well, he's number 20. And Dunlap looked good. He had a lot of carries, but he didn't have a pop play to me. And number 34, Leon Franklin. All of these dudes look good. So we know Blake Corum's the number 1, Donovan Edwards the number 2, and Donovan will be used a lot in the passing game. But they're looking for that workhorse, that third down back, I believe. That power back to get in the end zone, because he's kind of big, but I don't think we're sure if he's a tough runner yet. Blake is a tough runner. He's just little. You know what I'm saying? So you can be as tough as you want, but size matters. Him being 5'8", maybe 200 pounds or whatever he is, he's just little. You know what I'm saying? So you need a big back to get those tough short yardage in those tough short yardage situations. So we'll see who it is. Is it going to be Leon? Is it going to be Khalil? Or is it going to be Dunlap? Because all of them are big. We'll see who has the vision and the toughness to earn that, to keep that spot. But they all look good. Now, talking about short yardage, Alex Orji. I've been telling people in my group chats, like, we need to be playing this dude. He's somebody that needs to play, because he's one of those freak of nature type dudes. This dude's 6'2", 6'3", 230. And he had a couple long runs in that game, and he's just a big dude. Like, I think he got a 4th down. They thought he wasn't going to get it. He dragged a player, ragdolled somebody else, spun, and, reached the ball out and got the 1st down. He needs to play in short yardage and just put him on the field to see what he can do in the running game, because he might be something serious. When you got a dude that's that big and has the agility to make somebody miss and still has the power to put his head down, and he's a backup quarterback. So I'd be throwing him out there in certain downs and just QB powers. Go and give me that first down. Go and give me that first down. Use him like that. Then all of a sudden, they expecting him to pull it. The running back gets it. You know how it goes. So I would definitely use Alex Orji in the offense, in the main offense until JJ comes back. Now, when JJ comes back, you might want to give those reps to JJ because he can throw and pass. Now, Alex Orji can't really pass that well, but in the run game, he can make a difference. Let's see. AJ Henning. Looks like they're going to be feeding AJ Henning. Now, the teams were picked by the coaches, so this wasn't like the first team offense against the first team defense, really. You know what I'm saying? So the teams were split up. But I think AJ Henning's gonna get the ball a lot. It looks like he's gonna get the ball a lot because they were feeding him. They were feeding him a lot even with like Cornelius out there and on his team, they were still feeding him a lot. So as long as he can catch, my only problem with AJ Henning is with underneath passes, is he going to make those clutch catches? I haven't seen, even in this game, I didn't see the consistency of him catching it. You know what I mean? So we'll see if he keeps coming along, but he definitely needs to hit the jug machine. He's got the speed, he's got the elusiveness. It's just if they're gonna be running plays consistently for you at wide receiver, you got to catch the ball. You have to catch the ball. Let's see. Darius Clemens looks like the real deal. So he scored on a deep pass. I'm not sure who was against, but he kind of laid out. Got it. It was like 30. I want to say about 30 yards, but he looks like the real deal. So that's a bright spot. He looks like the real deal. At center, Oluwatimi, he looks good also. So we've already got 3 starters from last year. We bring in Oluwatimi to start at center, and then it's just that other offensive line spot. I'm not sure exactly which one it is, but the offensive line should be good, if not great, again this year. So that's something we can hang our hats on, and we're going to need it because we're going to run the ball down people's throats. Now, Mike Sanders was playing both ways. So he was on defense and he was on offense, and he's picking it up. That's why when I made a video earlier and they were asking me about him, he has all the ability and the agility. It's just how fast can he pick up what the defense does. But they look like they're going to play him both ways. And with that being said, the only mistake I really saw from him was in the run game. It looks at corner, he understands what he needs to do at corner as far as the passing game, but what he needs to work on is the run game, knowing your keys in the run game. Okay, I'm the farthest guy over. I have to keep contained. I can't get sucked in trying to on a fake, and then there's no one with outside contained. So you know what I'm saying. So he made some mistakes on that. But as far as him in the defending the pass, he looked good. He looked very good, honestly. So that's a plus to have that. He's just got to work on his positioning in the run game, knowing I've got contained and things like that. But he looked good. And the offenses, they don't look drastically different from last year. I mean, it's the spring game. They're not showing us too much, but they didn't look – the schemes look the same for the most part. Like, you didn't see a lot of different sets or anything. It looked like – pretty much looked like Gaddis was still there. So that's another thing. It's not nothing drastic changing. Now, on defense, the defenses looked good. And that's not surprising because even though we lost a lot of players, we played a ton of players, so they're there. Second year in the same type of system, even though people want to think, oh, we lost McDonald mentor's going to change. No, they came from the same coaching tree. They have the same philosophies. The scheme is the same. That's why they're calling it year 2 in the defense. So most of the things are the same. It's just figuring out what these players do better and worse, and then you form the defense around that, if that makes sense. So the defenses look good because even the players that are coming in, we've got most of our high recruits or highly touted recruits are on defense. So Will Johnson, he's the real deal. I expect him to start at corner. He looks like he's the real deal. Made some pass breakups, looked good going against Cornelius. He's living up to what he said, or what his ranking is as the number 1 corner in coming out last year. So he looks like the real deal. DJ Turner looks like the real deal. Looks like he's continuing to get better. Saw him do something that we don't see our corners do much, and that's find the ball. They threw I think it was a wheel route, and he turned around, found the ball. Get it out of here. If you don't turn around, the receiver will just catch it. You have to turn around. That's what gets you to that next level. Turning around. Oh, there's the ball. Boom. Once you get used to turning around and finding the ball, everything becomes easier. But if you don't practice and you don't get used to turning and finding that ball, then you just never get it, and then you just find yourself playing the man all the time, and he's getting catches on you because you're too scared to find the ball. It sounds easier than it is, so you have to get used to doing it. If not, when you're playing corner and you're running and you see the receiver turn, you don't want to turn. If you're not used to finding the ball, you don't want to turn because you don't want to turn and then the ball goes past you. So that's why you see a lot of dudes that don't turn. They haven't gotten used to finding the ball. So if they're not used to it, it's almost a fear to turn and then the ball goes past you. But you learn to find that ball. It makes your job a lot easier. But you gotta get it. So I'm glad to see DJ Turner's taking a step. Let's see, German Green. That's Jamon Green's brother. He looked good. He was making plays all over the place. So I'm glad to see, because if we got DJ Turner looking like he's a number 1, Will Johnson looking like he may be a number 1 too. You never know, since he's that highly touted and he's looking the part right now. We may have 2 for real number 1 corners. So what that means is when we get in that nickel, if that nickel ain't a beast, he's going to have a long day. So we need that nickel corner we need a for real nickel corner. Because if DJ and Will are looking like they were yesterday, then that nickel corner is going to get thrown at a lot. So we need somebody that's confident and is ready to get thrown at and is ready to step up. So whether that's Jamon Green, German Green, or Sane Resteel, whoever it is, they need to be ready, because the way DJ and Will looked, you're going to be getting thrown at a lot. So that's just what I'm seeing. RJ Moden. I'm expecting big things out of RJ Moden, and he's looking like he's about to do big things. He was all over the place with tackles and, flying around. And that's just what you want to see from this second year in this defense, and from a player that showed some promise last year. Now you want to iron it out, and now you want to take that next step. So he looked good. I wish they would have, showed who was on each team, because it was kind of confusing trying to, sometimes the announcers wouldn't tell you who made a tackle, and, you couldn't really see and stuff like that. So I wish they would have showed us. But, yeah, RJ Moden looked good. Let's see. Chris Jenkins was out there, made some plays in the run game. Looked like he was blowing up some plays. He's looking good. Taylor Upshaw made some plays. He looked good. Mike Morris, for the most part, the dudes that we expect to look pretty good looked good. I didn't see much out of Junior Colson, but it took me a minute to just figure out which team he was on, so I might have to go back and watch and see. I know he's on the Mays team now, but yeah, from what I saw yesterday, the team in general looked good. The team in general looked good. It's just, and this is the thing about this, and I'm gonna just wrap this up or whatever. This is the thing about this. We expect, as far as me, I expect the defense to be good this year. Even with losing all those plays, I expect the defense to be pretty good or pretty good. The offense, I know what to expect from Blake, Donovan, the offensive line. I expect us to be able to run the ball very well. But to get our goals, Cade has to be able to carry this team if he has to. Now, last year, he didn't have to do it. Cade didn't have to win a game with his arm, like really win the game. I know people were going to say, well, Penn State, well, Haskins had like 160 yards against Penn State. Cade made a throw to a wide open Eric Hall. Eric Hall took it 40, and we won the game. I'm talking about where the run game is almost non-existent, and Cade has to put the team on his back. Cade has to put the team on his back, and he can do it and execute and win. The one time he needed to do that last year was the Michigan State game, and he couldn't do it with 2 drives to win it. Now, I'm not saying I don't think Cade is good or Cade can, but there's no guarantee that the defense will be as good as last year in getting strip sacks and all that with like Aiden and Ojabo were doing. So if there is a game like that, and I mean, anyway, you want to be able to have your quarterback go out and throw for 300 with confidence. You know what I'm saying? So you've been at Michigan for a while, so that's what needed, because you're on a team. This team, the expectation is to win the Big Ten again. It's not, okay, we're going to go back to losing 3 or 4 games. That's not the expectation. With the talent that Michigan has, we're expecting to win the Big Ten again. So if we aren't able to do that, a big reason why will be we're not getting enough from Cade. So I went on that little long-winded rant right there just to say that if we don't get to where we want to be this year, I feel like it's going to be because Cade wasn't good enough. He couldn't take that next step. You know what I'm saying? So let's just say the defense isn't as good as we hope it can be, and we need the offense to be even more explosive and carry the load. Then we come up against a team that we can't run consistently against, and we need Cade to throw for 300 yards and not make mistakes. Can he do it? So that's going to be the big question in those types of games. But besides that, the team looked good, full of talent on offense and defense, and they're ready to go. So I'm expecting big things out of this team. Only thing that I say could hold them back is if Cade isn't where we need him to be. Now, I know people are going to say, we're hoping JJ is back, but that's not guaranteed. So right now, all I can go on is Cade, because I don't know what's going on with JJ, if he'll be ready, if he can throw. Will he get surgery? Will he try to come back and it's still pain and he needs to get surgery? I don't know. So right now it's on Cade. So he's gonna have to figure it out because those slow starts, you did it last year. You did it last year in some games, and we were able to run the ball. It's not guaranteed. This is a different year. We may be able to. He may come out like that, and then we can't run the ball, and he's missing throw after throw after throw, and look like he's in a funk. So then what will we do? You get what I'm saying? So, that's just me being devil's advocate. And, I think about this stuff all the time. So, honestly, I was expecting Cade to come out and look crisp, at least one of those drives. And he didn't look good on any of them. I mean, I'm going to take it with a grain of salt, but I have to say this is somewhat of a trend with him because I've seen him do it before. So, we're going to take it for a grain of salt, but I'm just hoping, let's hope that he takes the next step and really takes control of this offense and can throw like we need him to, because we will need him to in certain games. We're going to run that ball, but we're going to need you to make them throws, Cade. It is what it is. We're going to need you. So that's what I got from this one, y'all. The offense looked pretty much the same scheme. Young dudes making plays. Cade needs to get it together and improve. Blake, Donovan, them dudes going to be ready to eat. And between Dunlap, Mullins, and Franklin, we got a third, maybe even a fourth back. Those dudes look like they ready to eat too. Defense, looking like the same scheme, and guys are looking more comfortable in the scheme, and defense looks good for the most part. Didn't look like they were, besides one play at the end when they scored a touchdown. They scored a quick touchdown. Guys weren't getting lined up. Besides that, the defense looked like they knew what they were doing, and guys weren't thinking. They were just flying around. So that's good. So Mentor continuing on what McDonald did in the same type of scheme. But for the most part, this just was a team that Michigan just looks like it has a lot of talent, but to maximize the goal, because we want the goal to be win the Big Ten, beat OSU, win the Big Ten, make the playoff, win the championship, at least make the championship. We want to continue. To do that, we need Cade or whoever the quarterback is to take the passing game up another level. That's what we need. Because the run game, them backs going to do what they going to do. But sometime you ain't going to be able to run it. So the passing game has to take the next step. But that's all I got for this one, y'all. I didn't really want to talk for 30 minutes, but sometimes it's just how it goes. But like, share, subscribe, and as always, go blue.